You know, it's a feeling we've all had. That huge project, that important task, that healthy habit we swear we're going to start, it's just sitting there. We know exactly what we need to do, and yet we do everything else but that one thing. So why? Why is it so hard to just get started? Well, today we're going to pull that question apart and find a surprisingly simple answer.
Okay, so let's dive right in, because the very first step is to understand what procrastination isn't. See, most of us have been told a story about it, a lie really, that actually makes the whole problem way worse.
We tell ourselves it's a character flaw, right? That we're lazy or we just don't have enough willpower. But the truth? It's much simpler and, honestly, a lot less judgmental. Procrastination is just your brain's natural resistance kicking in. When a task looks too big or too confusing or just too long, your brain flags it as a threat. It's a defense mechanism, not some kind of moral failure.
And here's the part that's really wild. You're not actually avoiding the work itself. You're not afraid of writing that report or going to the gym. What you're really avoiding is the feeling you imagine you'll have when you start, that feeling of boredom or frustration or just, effort. So the key thing to realize is this: we're dodging a feeling that doesn't even exist yet.
So, if the problem is our brain just freaking out over a big, scary start, how do we outsmart it? Well, the solution is almost laughably simple. It's called the 10-minute rule. That's it. Seriously. That's the whole rule. You pick that one thing you've been putting off for days, maybe even weeks, and you just tell yourself, I only have to do this for 10 minutes. The commitment is so tiny, it's almost impossible for your brain to argue with. And yeah, the steps are just as easy as they sound. First, you pick your task. Second, you set a timer for 10 minutes. And third, and this is absolutely the most important part, you give yourself total, complete permission to stop the second the timer goes off. The goal here isn't to finish the task. The goal is just to start. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 10 minutes? That's it? How could that possibly work? Well, it might sound too simple to be true, but there's some really powerful psychology going on here. This little rule works because it's a direct counterattack on the root cause of procrastination, that fear of starting. I mean, just look at how this reframes the whole situation for your brain. When you tell yourself, okay, I've got to study for 2 hours straight, your brain hears this massive, draining commitment. It translates that to effort, pain, even danger. But when you say, I'm just going to work for 10 minutes, poof, the threat is gone. The task suddenly feels small and manageable, and all that mental resistance just melts away. This simple little flip accomplishes 3 amazing things. First, it completely tricks that nagging inner critic, that voice that says, now's not the right time. Second, you discover a universal truth. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Once you just start moving, momentum builds all on its own. And finally, by just beginning, your stress level plummets and your mind can actually focus on the task at hand. Okay, enough with the theory. How can you actually put this into practice, like right now? Let's walk through a few real-world examples. So let's say you're avoiding studying. Forget about the whole chapter. Just commit to opening the book and reading 2 pages, or maybe even just 1 paragraph. That's it. I'd be willing to bet that more often than not, you'll find yourself reading a 3rd page, and then a 4th. Staring down a massive report at work? Don't even think about writing the whole thing. Your 10-minute task is just to open the file. Maybe write 1 single paragraph. Or you know what? Just jot down a few bullet points. That tiny bit of progress is what absolutely destroys procrastination. And this works beautifully for personal habits too. Instead of feeling guilty about not doing a 1-hour workout, just commit to a 10-minute walk. Instead of getting overwhelmed by cleaning the whole house, just tidy up 1 single surface for 10 minutes. Your brain loves building a rhythm. It doesn't care about perfection. But here's where the real magic happens. When this little trick starts to become a powerful, automatic habit. So how do you make sure this thing sticks for good? To make this a habit, you've got to follow a few key principles. The most important one is the golden rule. For the first few weeks, do not increase the time. I know it sounds crazy, but even if you work for an hour one day, your commitment for the next day is still just 10 minutes. This trains your brain that starting is always easy. It's also super helpful to link it to a habit you already have, like right after your morning coffee. And finally, your only measure of success is this: did you start?
That's it, not how much you did.
And just as important are the things to avoid. This isn't a test of your willpower. If you stop right after 10 minutes, that's a huge win. You beat procrastination for the day. You gotta celebrate that. The goal here is consistency, not intensity. This is a tool to help you, not another stick to beat yourself up with. So what's the long-term payoff here? Well,
After you've been doing this for about a month, something really profound starts to shift. The biggest impact isn't just on your to-do list, it's on your identity. You literally stop seeing yourself as a procrastinator. You start to see yourself as a person who takes action, a person who starts.
So we've broken down the why, the what, and the how. Now there's really only one thing left to do, for you to take that first, teeny tiny step. Let's just end on this really powerful idea. Procrastination isn't some monster you need to go slay. It's just a signal. It's your brain basically sending you a message saying, hey, the way we're thinking about this task is all wrong. It feels too big. And the 10-minute rule is the perfect answer to that signal.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question. Think about it for a second. What is that one thing you've been putting off? Got it? Now, can you give it just 10 minutes? Not tomorrow, not later tonight, just 10 minutes, right now, today.
We really hope you got a lot out of this summary. And hey, if you want to build the good habit of learning new things, you can make it obvious and easy by subscribing to our channel. And you can make it satisfying for us by hitting that like button, sharing this with a friend, and leaving a comment to let us know what you think. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. We'll see you in the next summary.